Bennington man is out of jail and now facing more serious charges after violating a protection order earlier this month.
This update now from the Cass-Graham. Chad Miller is now facing a charge of attempted first-degree murder, along with 3 counts of possession of a weapon while committing a felony. He was allegedly drunk and had 5 guns in his truck when he was stopped near Plattsmouth. A Cass County, Nebraska sheriff's deputy was advised that Miller made threats against a man who obtained a protection order against him.
Miller is currently out of jail. He posted 10% of the $500,000 bond set by a judge.